the one thing holding back the tide of evil which threatens to engulf the living world. The one man who has any hope of stopping the apocalypse. Two worlds, two identities, one man, Shadow Man. Come, take a walk on the dead side.
Welcome to Remember 64, everybody, where this week we are kicking off our spooky games coverage by consuming your soul. Hope that was spooky enough for you, everybody. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Hello again if you're a returning listener or viewer, and welcome if this is your first time. Welcome to our spooky season-ish coverage. We'll tell you about what's coming up next, too. Here in Remember 64, we play, discuss the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between in Nintendo 64's library. My name is David Petrangelo, and I've been to hell and back and met demons you wouldn't believe. That's right, a Scottish snake with a top hat, all that, and some notorious serial killers. Jack the Ripper, more like Jack the Camera Clipper, am I right? Jiggylookback, hi, how are you?
I'm the Lord of the Dead Side.
Yes, you
That's
are.
all I got.
That's all you got? Oh, I was going to
got.
like make your screen bigger and be like, ooh, zoom in. And now it's just grunting. Apparently scary stuff is just people grunting. If anyone has not picked up on it, probably not. It's pretty vague. But we are talking Shadow Man on the Nintendo 64. A game that has kind of been around in my head for a little while, being like, oh, I feel like this is a game we should play. It seems like it's kind of got a little bit of a cult following. It was out on multiple consoles and generations, really. We're playing the N64 version, of course, but it was also out on PC, Dreamcast, and the PlayStation. Oh, you got the Dreamcast version there. Look at that.
Yeah, I do.
Ooh, very nice. And it had a remaster that was released not too long ago. I think in 2021 and 22, so only just a couple years ago. So that's been going around as well. But we're going to be talking about that, and we also have something coming up too. I plan right now is to also end off October of 2025 to play Castlevania, the first Castlevania, which I believe, as far as I remember, is the first 3D Castlevania ever made. So we've had first 3D Spider-Man not too long ago. Now we have the first 3D Castlevania, which has even, I would say, even more titles in 2D leading up to this one. So we got some interesting picks this month because Castlevania seems to be a mixed bag when I look up reviews and how people feel about it. And Shadow Man feels like a game that a lot of people know about but didn't play. I don't know if you got a sense of that at all in the last little while.
Sort of. I seem to find that Shadow Man has like a cult following at this point.
Yeah.
And I actually was surprised to learn that they did in fact make a sequel on the PlayStation 2, and apparently it was like nowhere near as good.
Right.
Or widely received, but I was like, yeah, it's one of those games that I kind of always saw growing up. Didn't really play.
Nope, I never played it. This is the first time for me playing this. Yeah.
I actually did play the Dreamcast version. Ironically, I have it and I still haven't really played it.
Yeah.
But I played the Dreamcast version like years ago because it was just one that my friend had, and I was like, oh cool, let's try that. That looks creepy.
Yeah.
I played it for like 15-20 minutes and then decided to go get dinner or something and did something else.
And then forgot about it. Yeah.
And forgot about it. Yeah. It was cool to play this on N64. Well, I actually played this on my Switch with the N64 expansion pass.
Yep.
because it happens to be one of those that's available on the mature N64 app on the
Very,
Switch.
very, very interesting. Like, there's so many games that have not yet made Switch Online, and yet for some
Yeah,
reason this comic book based Acclaim Studios title is on there. I know I found, I find it a little strange that there's like a separate thing for like mature, and this is one of them. And like, it's just, it almost seems like it's more strange because there's so few games under that like mature category. It's this Perfect Dark, and what did just get added not too long ago?
they have this Perfect Dark, Turok. I
Turok.
think they have Turok 1 and Turok 2.
Yeah. And then oh my god, there's one more. People are gonna be
Is there
yelling
one
at
more?
us. Yeah, I think there is. It's a first person game. Forsaken. I think Forsaken.
Oh, Forsaken. Yeah, that
Yeah.
just got added.
And there's not that many mature rated games on the N64. So, and then, protecting so kids don't access them or whatever. I get it, right? But it's like, it's almost like it's like in this special category.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But what's great is if you are listening or watching and you want to give this game a shot, it is more widely available, whereas some of the games that we cover aren't quite as easy to get a hold of course, unless you're, emulating and things like that. So there's always a possibility, but this one you can play on your fancy new screen and or any Switch, and give it a shot. And I will say it's not a terrible way to play it. I split my time between the two. I mostly played on Switch as well because I was just on the go a lot while playing this couple weeks. So it was a great way to play this game on the go, sort of on and off the train when I was going to and from work. That was the majority of my experience playing this. So I think that's a good way to do it. And we'll get into the details, but I think having a little bit of a backup plan with like a save state every once in a while is helpful with this game. So
yeah,
why?
this is the first I was going to say Switch game, the first game in general really that I got to try out my new AirPod Pro 3s, which Apple just dropped. So I connected those. So the silence with the noise canceling was deafening. I went under the covers. I played Shadow Man on my Switch 2. I even have a little 64 engraved in my
on the
AirPod Pro
case.
case. Oh yeah, I'm trying to show it. My camera doesn't like to focus when I get close.
It's
There's a
also
little
like
64 there.
like the lighting too. So it's I think it's hard to find it because of the
It's
white
like
case or
super
something.
reflective. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Anyway, so yeah, I played it. It was pretty cool. But I will say, taking it from handheld, just plugging it into my dock and playing with the proper N64 controller, it's way better.
Okay.
Way
All right.
better.
See, I had only an hour or two with the 64. Like when you said, "Oh, me and my friends played it for just a bit," that was kind of my experience playing it with the 64 controller. So we'll get into that in a couple minutes. I just want to before I forget, because I often do, forget. I want to plug the show at the top. Right. Not only did I say that we have Castlevania coming up as our next semi spooky game. I don't know how spooky it is. I feel like Shadow Man's kind of spooky, so it kind of made sense. We'll see what Castlevania
I doubt
like.
there's any spookier game on the N64.
I honestly, I think there's a lot of themes, a lot of settings, a lot of the music, all this stuff that we'll dig into.
There's some very disturbing stuff that I want to talk about.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, like in the first minute.
Yeah,
of this game.
Yeah, the first minute, the first half hour just is filled with crap. I'm just like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah. Speaking of fucked up stuff, remember 64? Yeah, you could, I don't know. And just segues.
Good segue.
I'm trying here. Okay. Just give me some credit. I'm trying. Remember 64 show all across social media and on Patreon as well, where you can support the show, get episodes early, all that fun stuff. But I do want to mention that because we are part of the Console Creatures team, there's a new way to sort of support not only Remember 64, but Console Creatures, the Creature Cast, and PlayStation Generation, the other two shows, and the website. Bobby, the editor extraordinaire, as we call him, of Console Creatures, set up. Is it Coffee or Kofi? I don't remember. I don't really know how to say it out loud. Where people can.
Coffee.
Is it just coffee? I don't know. It's spelled KOFI. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's coffee.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Now you have me questioning it.
I question it every day. I question lots of things in my life every day. Kofi, coffee. Anyways, point of that is, if you don't know what it is a way to just instead of doing a recurring payment type of thing that like something like Patreon has, for example, you just can give any amount of money to the team. And the whole point of it is, hey, buy me a cup of coffee. But it can actually, I'm pretty sure the minimum is even lower than just a couple bucks. So what you can do is you can just sort of toss a couple bucks our way as a team, and then that's going to go towards us creating our shows and keeping the website going and all those types of things. So that is a way to support all of us all at once, not just for this show. So that is great because those guys do awesome work talking about PlayStation, talking about new releases, talking about retro games every once in a while, and I'll pop myself in too as well. But yeah, CreatureCast, and PlayStation Generation, and ConsoleCreatures.com, and us here at Remember 64. That is a great way to support our shows and our work, and just a new way that that was just launched. So ConsoleCreatures.com should have that, but you can find it on KOFI and then search for Console Creatures, and it'll show up, and that gets distributed among all of us here as part of the team. So other than that, before we get into it, Jiggy, I'll ask you maybe again at the end if I remember, but you're keeping busy, right, sir? You're keeping busy as usual.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just dropped a really, really dope video. The legacy of let me remember what the title is.
The exact title.
The rare legacy of the Donkey Kong series.
Yes.
Just a super cool look back, if you will, of Donkey Kong as a whole, and talking about his time with Rare, and sort of like pooling in my thoughts about Bonanza. So it's sort of like a little bit of a Bonanza review at the end, but not really.
But
it just sort of is.
Bonanza's part of the lore, or whatever
chain,
you want to
right?
call it. It's part of it. It's not the Rare part, but it is part of Nintendo. It is, it's Donkey Kong, right? So
I will say I gave some love to Jungle Beat. You know I love my Jungle Beat.
Yes, you do. Yeah,
Jungle Beat fans unite.
Yeah, I was I was watching it and I go, oh, there it is. There's the beat.
There it is.
I was like, it was almost like, it's not that I was expecting it, but I was sort of thinking in the back of my mind before he got to that point. I was like, I feel like he's got to say something about that game. He's got to say something about it, right?
Classic. It's
and then it popped up, and I go, all right. Some I don't know. I knew DK64 was going to show up. Of course, that's going to be part of it. But once you mentioned Jungle Beat, I was like, I feel like that completes the circle of life here in this video.
Yes.
So
yes. Gotta love
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah, so check out more of Jiggylookback's awesome stuff. Thanks, on YouTube as well. Keep kicking ass, buddy.
I also want to say we're doing this podcast, and a lot of you listen, but if you haven't watched, we have decked out, both of our spaces are pretty decked out at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I added some banners. I finally hung up a little Earthworm Jim poster. It's pretty sick.
Epic
and
one.
Dave has just moved into his new space, and he's got Nintendo Powers galore just lined up, that beautiful, glorious shelf, lighting up, shelving beneath it that has Banjo-Kazooie.
All of the physical
boxes.
Copies of Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, man.
Of the whole franchise.
Complete in box.
The only box I don't have still is Grunty's Revenge. It is very difficult to find. It's hard to find. I have the cartridge, but I don't have the box. It's the only game. Otherwise, I have the complete of all the games except for that one. So I have my Lego Piranha Plant and my soon to be Game Boy Lego that I'm going to set up soon.
Word.
So that'll be added to the background. So yeah, something to look at aside from our lovely faces,
But you don't need to look at that. I mean, you can look at our faces all the time. You'd be fine with that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we could just walk off screen.
The podcast for our
we
faces.
can just talk off screen if you want. Like, it's fine. I can zoom the camera into my shelf or something. I don't know. Look at cool. I can swap the Nintendo powers as we're talking with other ones. Anyways, cool. Enough about that. Shall we? Okay, Shadow Man. Now,
Shadow Man.
Before we get into some of the details, like the ones we just mentioned about how the game starts, which is kind of crazy. I'm going to pull up some gameplay when we get to it in a second, but I didn't really know this, or I didn't really remember, but Shadow Man's based on a comic series from, I think Valiant Comics from the 90s. Just to sort of set things up, because I do think that the story and the world and stuff is a huge part of what's going on in this.
Absolutely.
Definitely not what I expected. Not necessarily the story that I didn't expect, but just in general, it having such a deep lore. But then I realized, remembered it's a comic book. Of course, there's lots of that, right? That's part of why comic books are beloved so much and why there's so many stories, and just the medium itself is always rich with background and lore and all that kind of stuff. So I wrote down a little bit of what it's about, but of course, feel free to fill in any of the blanks, Jiggy. But
Sure.
Shadow Man heads into Deadside after Jack the Ripper, this is part of the opening, kills himself in order to gain power and construct a giant insane asylum for someone named Legion. And this is where other crazies and demons can be kept and unleashed onto the world. It is up to your main character, who turns into Shadow Man when he goes into Deadside, which is essentially the hell realm,
The
dead
land of the
realm,
dead, I
land of the
guess.
dead. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he apparently has the ability to jump between realms. I don't know how well that's explained, but that's kind of the setup.
Something about the
The thing in his
thing in his
chest.
chest.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you see the box art, it's right up front where he's got this sort of like thing sewn into his ribs or something.
Mhm.
They mentioned a little bit at the beginning, so
It's
that's
like
the
a mask or something.
something like that. Yeah, it's a very basic setup. There's more deeper lore and stuff to go on, and there's lots of dialogue at the beginning. But Jiggy, let's start with the opening, and then we'll start getting into our feelings about how it controls and the game itself and gameplay and all that kind of stuff. But like it kind of hits you over the head right at the beginning.
It does. It's kind of an expansive beginning. Like
It takes a while to get going. Yeah.
it takes a while to get going, but also like the N64, like it was just like watching cutscenes, which I'm not used to doing on the N64.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Because it is very like we're watching it right now. Again, if you're watching the version, uh, or video version, there is like a what 5 to 10 minute cutscene.
It's long. It's an
Yeah.
in-game engine cutscene, but it's like
Yes.
it's there.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot going on. I was trying to figure out what was going on. It wasn't super clear. Not gonna lie, to me at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It-
It's sort of playing on that ambiguity and like making
yeah.
it like it's giving you a plot point. It's sort of establishing things without explaining what they are,
Yeah,
right?
here, let's play a little bit of the audio of this opening thing because it is something like there's lots of voice work in this too, like constantly
Mhm.
through the whole game. So let's do a little bit. Maybe we'll get a little taste of what it is. There's so much exposition. Okay, and then she keeps talking and explaining, basically a lot of
Mhm.
background and stuff like that. But that's a
Yeah.
sense of there's a lot of back and forth and explanation and exposition for that like 10 minutes. Um, I I it's cool that it's all there, but the opening scene with the Jack the Ripper thing where he's like, "Oh, if you kill yourself, you can," I was like, "What is going on here? Who are these people?"
Yeah.
Like, I did not get it.
Yeah, it's a lot. I definitely wasn't processing it either. It's
Yeah,
like it's almost like it happens so fast and it's so much of a lore dump, you just can't like you can't follow it. I don't know.
you don't have time
You
to
get
take the
context like
notes.
as you keep playing the game.
Yes,
Like it's sort
yes,
of like you understand it more as you keep playing. But that initial cutscene, even though it does actually explain so much, it's just it's so much at once. It's
yeah.
like going into pre-calculus when you're barely in algebra.
Yeah, I don't remember either of those math
Exactly. I'm
classes.
surprised I remember what they were called.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. When you algebra, which one's
This is the
algebra?
part that got me when he's just like going and all of a sudden he's like on the river. I'm like, wait, so is
Oh
this
yeah,
dead side?
yeah. That was a good way. They
I
can
know
live,
where
can die.
Bruce.
Does a lot of talking to himself. That's definitely a big part of what Shadow Man does.
He
Yeah.
does.
So basically you have to go over to Dead Side and you do go back and forth as Shadow Man
Hmm.
or Mike, I think his name is. You go back and forth and to collect things and sort of get to new areas and all that kind of stuff. So um you don't just play as Shadow Man with your abilities and stuff. You do go back to the real world, and the story kind of progresses from there and stuff. But do you feel like that the setup and stuff, like, did you care the way things were set up and all that? Like, did it add anything for you? Because they do quite a bit of it in the opening. I would say like hour at least doesn't have a ton happening. A lot of it is set up and just kind of reaching the area that leads you to what the game really is, I think.
Yeah, I think from what I was experiencing, I was like, I feel like I would rather just have been thrown into the dead side like right away,
Sure.
rather
Yeah.
than this whole like beginning area in Louisiana or wherever the heck you are.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's sort of like almost like a tutorial, because like you're just kind of running and jumping and that's it.
right.
Maybe, but
I think it's an interesting concept switching between the two worlds though, and the fact that your abilities are like different,
mhm.
like similar
Yeah.
but different.
The thing that I realized as I went on is there was a couple points in the game, like especially later on, that I needed a little bit of help because I was kind of lost about what to do next, because there's not a lot, there's almost like no hand holding in this game, and in some ways that's good, because like, why, you got to sort of explore. It's kind of a larger game. There's a lot of different areas that you can kind of discover things and find
Mm,
weapons and new items and collectibles and whatever. But like, I needed a little bit more guidance in some spots, so I ended up looking up a guide, which I rarely do. Like, I really try not to do that. And many of the games on the 64 don't really require it. We haven't played a ton of RPGs, we haven't played a ton of massive games. This is definitely, I would consider, a pretty big game. And as I was doing that, I realized some of the sort of descriptions of the areas that I was looking through, and it sort of said, "Oh, this area you can't reach yet. This area you can't reach yet for this reason." And I go, "But I thought like why?" And then I realized this is one of those games where the manual is actually pretty helpful, because it explains what each item is. It explains what all the weapons do. It explains that you can only use this in this area, that in that area, when you go between the dead side and the real world. Like, those types of things are not explained to you in the game explicitly. It's like, oh, you found a new weapon, or oh, you found a new item. This is what that item does. Like the little red things that you keep collecting, and the gold skulls that are around. I thought they were just like, and the red ones are so common. I was like, oh, I have like 100 of these. I guess it's some sort of currency. No, it's ammo for one of your weapons. And I had no idea. It doesn't tell
yeah,
you, because you don't get that weapon until like
right.
2-3 hours later.
Even
And then I looked in the
that whole
manual.
HUD.
Yeah. And I look at the manual, and the manual doesn't even tell you it's ammo. It just says, ooh, it's a mysterious thing. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, and you're collecting it like the entire time you're there,
The
like
whole
the
time.
whole game.
Yeah.
It's not like it shows up when you get anything. It's just they're just randomly there, and you're like, what are these little heart things?
It looks like it kind of looks like a heart. Makes like this sort of sounds like a cricket when you pick it up or something.
Yeah,
Um, it's
I mean,
just, I don't
I
know.
definitely had that because the bottom right, the like your health and stuff. I was like, what are all these different meters? Like,
Exactly.
there's so many, and they don't really tell you what they are. You can kind of pick it up by context, like, okay, that's my energy. Okay, that's but it's I don't know,
The only way that
ambiguous.
obviously the red one is your health. That's understandable. When you kill enemies, most of them drop little health orbs that you can pick up. Okay, that's
Hmm.
fine. But then there's like a dial underneath it that's purple, and the purple is like, so if you want to describe like sort of these collectibles and stuff to games that you and I love and will sort of we can sort of equate it to, like, the little red things, which are called cadeaux. I don't know what that means, but a cadeau, it's a
A
French word, I
cadeau.
think. So those little red things that we said, oh, that's appears to be ammo. Those are sort of like the notes in Banjo-Kazooie. And then is it the soul spires? What are they called? I have the manual in front of me. What's it called here? What are they called? The ones where you have to shoot them to get what the fuck's it called?
The glowy things?
No, the big ones you have to
I don't
collect.
know what they're called. I don't know what anything is called.
And therein lies the problem, everybody.
Describe it to me.
The Dark Souls,
Oh, the
those things
Dark
that,
Souls.
yeah,
Okay,
those things that,
that's the one thing I didn't know what it was called.
yeah. They're sort of like on these like pedestals, and you have to shoot them eventually, and you collect these Dark Souls. Anyways, what that does is that ends up filling up that little purple bar underneath your health. The more of those you have are basically like jiggies in Banjo-Kazooie, and you can open other areas to get to them, but you have to
Yeah.
collect enough in order to get to those areas. Not really explained to you. You know, the
Mm-mm.
only thing that got to me is like I kind of looked at the doors and they kind of looked like my health meter, and I was like, okay, maybe that. But
So I figured that out. And the reason why I figured that out, like as I was collecting the Dark Souls, because that purple meter goes up,
yeah,
the symbols all along the side of the door, depending on how many
yes,
like are required to get in, they're colored purple. And
yes,
I kind of pieced it together. I was like, oh, okay, so if I have one, I can probably open this door. If I have two, I can open this door. If I don't have three, I can't open this door. And then it was like a testing my theory, and it just
yes.
happened to be correct.
I think mine ended up being about the same. Was that I was like, oh, that's also purple. Cool. I'm gonna
Mhm.
try that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
okay. Um, So with that, and this is we're only really talking about like the sort of overall like collectible stuff. We'll get to the gameplay, which we're sort of watching right now, and sort of the combat and things like that. But there's a lot of exploration in this, and I think I texted this to you like last week or a few days ago. I go, "Oh, this game is basically a Metroidvania."
Yeah.
Because not only do you need to collect those things that we're talking about, they lead you to new areas. They will you have to find enough in order to progress the story, really. Because if you don't get into those doors, you're kind of stuck in a loop of spots. Unfortunately, there's no set map, so it's really hard to know kind of where to go and stuff, which was kind of my problem with it. But you can go back to areas that you weren't able to reach before, because some of those doors, just like in a game like Banjo-Kazooie and others, collectathons and others like them, is, oh, I can only actually legitimately get, let's say, 4 Dark Souls in this area, but this door requires 8. Let's say, well, I'm going to get 8 eventually, but now I have to remember to go back to that exact spot in order to get through that
Right.
door. That will help you progress or potentially unlock something new, like a weapon or whatever. But I don't, it's so hard to remember where to go and how to get there, because there's so many areas and so many spots that you have to remember where things are. And as cool as some of the elements are in this game, a lot of the environments are just samey. They're all kind of brown and dark.
Textures. Yeah.
Textures are very, very the same. Even in new areas, it's like, oh, that's just a slightly lighter brown or whatever. And like the game is like dark in theme, but also just very dark. I
So here's the thing. It's that N64 muddy look that a lot
Yes.
of games have,
Yes.
but it works for Shadow Man because it's thematically like the way they're trying to make it look.
Yes. It's
So it
like
works, but it's like it's still that
thematically it works.
muddy. Yeah.
Thematically it 100% works. Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't help with the exploration part, which is a big part of this game, right? So
Hmm.
that's the only issue with it for me. Is I don't mind the setting. I don't mind what they're trying to do. I get it. Like all of that stuff actually worked for me. I kind of like the sort of moody music and him talking to himself. Like those things are fine. Very comic booky. I like it. Um, it's just after a while, I was like, oh, I tried to make note, like, oh, I'm gonna come back to that spot because I'm gonna have more whatever I need to get into it, the Dark Souls or something like that, or a different weapon or whatever. And then I would inevitably forget, and I would just be moving on to the
Yeah.
next spot and stuff. And I feel like I probably missed some stuff that would have helped me, like a new weapon or maybe a health upgrade or probably more Dark Souls or something.
Anything.
So anything really, yeah, anything. So yeah, I don't know, any of that stuff that I missed. I feel like I was just rambling.
Uh no, that was pretty good. I totally agree with you. Navigating can be kind of tough.
Yeah,
Um
even early
but
on,
also
like even early
also
on.
like going off of the navigation thing, you have one of the creepiest elements I think of this game, and it's using your dead brother's teddy bear as like essentially like a teleportation tool.
Yeah, like
It
fast
can pull
travel,
you in. It's
essentially.
fast travel. It can take you
Yeah,
to different areas within the dead side or the real world, and it like pops you back and forth. every time you use it, you get stuck in this like static animation where he like grabs him, and then it plays like some creepy little kid's voice, like "Let's play
It,
tag" or something,
yeah,
or
like
I
over
can't
here,
remember what he
Michael,
says.
or something like that, like
Yeah,
his
something
brother's
like that.
voice or something. Yeah, yeah.
Get me here. It's like very like
Like it
okay.
sounds like he's like Jiggy is exaggerating, but no, that's like literally what it is every time.
Yeah,
I
it
don't think
says
it's a
like
bad idea. It's just it is creepy. It is creepy.
it's pretty creepy, but it also says the same thing every time. I don't think it changes unless
I
I
never heard it say anything else. Yeah, I think it is the
yeah.
same thing.
I
Yeah.
can't remember anything else, but
Yeah.
I definitely used it more than once.
I did too because when I did look up a couple of those hints that I needed, it was to get a couple Dark Souls, so I knew that I can progress. That's really the reason why. I was like, I feel like I missed one. I might have
Yeah,
turned right instead of left, or I didn't go up the right ramp or go through the right door. And inevitably,
and
it
you
was
didn't,
one
and you
that I
didn't.
was like,
Yeah,
oh shit, I definitely should have saw that, and I just didn't. And whatever, right? It happens,
yeah.
but
It can't be helped. It's a big world to go and explore. I mean, you really have to. It's one of those things. If you didn't have a guide, you'd have to go back and like comb everything
yes,
like from
yeah.
the beginning, and ain't nobody got time for that.
No, honestly, like that's the thing. That's why I think there's a little bit of an advantage to playing it on the Switch version is because you can sort of stop where you were and be like, oh yeah, right, okay, I was going
Hmm.
forward here, or I was in this area. There are some open areas, but a lot of hallways and stuff as well. Very easy to kind of get turned around or think this
Yeah,
is one hallway over another. So the navigating of trying to remember where to go or where you came from does get a little difficult for all the reasons that I've sort of mentioned before. But the idea of it and most of the execution I still enjoyed. You know, I don't think that I was like upset at the game for those things. I just wish it was a little more fine tuned. I think if it's even
yeah.
possible, which I don't know that it is because of the technology and just what the 64 can do with textures and things like that, like you said. So, um, but it's also just like level design. You know, it's not just the muddy textures that you were mentioning. Like level design is part of this, and it's just some areas are just better than others. That's all I think.
Yep. And with that, I feel like we could segue into gameplay a little bit because I have
Yeah.
something that I've been dying to say,
Yes.
which also
100%.
sort of connects with the navigation aspect. There are switches and things that you can
Mm,
press. And what we said earlier about how the game really doesn't tell you like how to do anything or what anything is, like it just kind of throws you in and figure it out, which in some aspect I'm like, I respect that. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I'll get in. And I did figure things out. So it's not impossible.
Hmm.
Like it does happen. But one thing that really threw me off is that if you go, there's like these, you'll find these switches or like buttons on a wall, and you'll be like, okay, I can totally hit that. That has to do something. And you know it's going to do something. But I sat there and I'm like, like, why is it? What do I do? I'm pressing A, I'm pressing B, I'm pressing Z. Left C button
Oh,
for some reason is the button to like hit
select
switches.
things. Yeah.
And I'm like, huh? I
Yeah.
never
It's like
I
the
never would have guessed
activate
that.
button or whatever. Yeah. It is. The control scheme is a little strange. I would say playing it on Switch, it felt the same way because I was using the right joystick as the C buttons, right?
You know what I did on Switch though? Because the Switch, the what button is it? The Y button.
Let's talk
So you
about the
have your
button
A and your
layout again.
B. The button layout on the Switch, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Uh, the Y button, which is the one on the left, the face button on
Yes.
the left, is mapped like natively on N64 games with the Pro controller and the Joy Cons or whatever to be the left C button.
Yeah.
So
Right.
actually on Switch, that being the activate button actually felt more natural
Mm.
because it's like part of your face buttons, right? And
And you're
it's
going to
just like,
use it as often, right? Or often
yeah,
enough.
but then
Yeah.
translating it back to the N64 controller, which I do believe is the superior way to play it controller wise, I was like, what button is that? Like,
And why?
I didn't know it was the C button, like the left C button. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it's a little strange because you get part of gameplay too is the combat, right? And this is sort of
Mhm.
related to what you're saying where you can equip different items and your weapons on each hand, which again is a cool idea. It's sort of like dual wielding. They're sort of pulling off a BioShock type of idea, um, that that works in those games, obviously. But one of the I think it's considered A or B. I can't remember offhand because again with Switch, you correct me if I'm wrong. Is like a quick draw. So whichever
Yes.
yeah, so whichever like weapon you have, I think in your right hand, I can't remember if it matters what hand it is. He will
I think it's a
automatically
B.
fire that gun. So like the pistol is used very often in the first half of the game, and anytime you press that, you don't have to like equip it and then take it out, and because there's sort of like an inventory system and stuff in this. You just press that button and he automatically starts firing. That's just ends up being your fire button at that point. I think that idea is kind of cool, but then that takes up that button layout that you're
Inventory
just
slot.
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, kind of makes that part a little awkward. So, um, does it solve the problem to have a quick draw? I don't know. Maybe just pick a different button to shoot and just keep it at that. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like they're
It
trying to do
just,
too much.
yeah, it just was, it threw me off. Once I
Yeah.
figured it out, it's like, oh, okay. But it definitely like doesn't feel intuitive at first.
No, that's right. That's a
Like
good way to put it. Yeah.
just about everything else feels intuitive. Just that like activation. And also, I mean, like in that button layout going into the menu, I also like the amount of times I accidentally use the teddy bear because I press B on it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
my instinct says B is back.
Yes.
It's kind of like when PlayStation games would flip flop the X and the O as like select,
Yeah. No,
that
thank you.
always messes with my brain. It's like, can we all just be universal about what's accept and what's not accept?
Yep.
I was like,
Yep.
everything else can be different. Just make accept and not accept the same.
Yep.
It throws me off, man.
Make your letters LMNOP. Like we don't care. Just make the
Yeah.
the spot on the controller. Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's yeah, it's you're right. So again, what's cool is that you can equip different things. You can have them both going at the same time. Those types of things are interesting ideas and more like RPG like systems or more of like a 3D action game system built into it and stuff. But it's definitely a much slower moving game. I wouldn't consider this an action game, but I would say it's an adventure game with some combat elements. The combat itself, though, at least in the opening half of the game, why does it take 19 shots to kill the
Yeah.
simplest, smallest enemy? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I maybe to start in the first like hour or two, I guess, but it seems to never change. Like some weapons are more effective against other enemies, I guess, like later on. But at the beginning, it almost felt like, okay, so here's an enemy. All I'm going to do is keep firing and then just keep walking backwards until they
Yeah.
die. And
And
it's not that fun. It's
I
cool.
I honestly thought the zombies at the beginning part of the game were
Yeah.
invulnerable. Like I couldn't kill them because
Right.
I would shoot them like 5 times and I'd be like, oh, they went down, and I think they'd be dead, and then they get back up, and I'd be
Get
like,
back up.
oh, but you
Yeah.
have to keep firing, and your pistol is bizarre. I kind of like how it looks when it'll like shoot its projectile, and then the projectiles like swarm around them and hit them like a few times.
Yeah,
I
it
guess.
doesn't I think it does. I don't know if it hits them more or if it's just a visual flare type thing. Like that's the only thing I couldn't quite tell.
Oh, it
Um
looked cool.
it did look kind of cool. Yeah, it's I don't I mean you're playing with your headphones. I was playing with headphones too cuz I was mostly on the go on the train when I was doing it,
Hmm.
but it's super loud too. I don't know if you noticed that. The sound
Yes, I turned
mixing.
it down.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
so
I
did I.
turned
So
that. You can
I
go in the menu and turn it down. I turned it down. That was like one of the first things because it's obnoxious. It's like,
It's and again, yeah, and you're firing it so many times. Like, let's see if I can
yeah.
find a spot where he's shooting it. Um,
I mean, any point he's pretty much shooting.
yeah, let's see. It unlocks a
Let's see.
door.
Let's watch him fire.
Listen to those boots; they're so heavy. Also, this key is like a glove. I find that to be hilarious.
See him fire his laser. Come on. I can't believe you picked the one part of
Does
the
that
video
not
that
sound like the GoldenEye doors?
it totally does. 100%. There we go. Yeah.
Why is it so loud?
Phew, 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 and just over and over and over. It's funny you said that because I definitely thought it was like a me thing because I
No.
was playing and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is getting irritating."
Yeah.
And I turned it down and then it was fine, but it was like it was excessive. I mean, you're blasting them like 20 times and it's super loud just out of the gate. At least
Yeah.
I to their credit, at least they give you the option to turn down all the effects. You can turn down the sound effects, the music, anything and customize it
You can
to how
adjust the
you want it.
brightness, which I did after a little bit. I
Oh,
turned
did
up the
you?
brightness on my screen, and still, I was kind of like, "Ooh, this is a little bit tough to like." The game is just actually just a little too dark. And
Mm,
then this particular playthrough, I didn't show it when I pressed play on it or whatever, but this person actually goes into the menu and turns up the brightness too, like before they even
mm.
start the game. I don't. Did you not do that? I did it.
No,
I
I didn't actually.
I had to. It was just I don't know.
I I don't know. I like it. I like when the horror games are dark and it's hard to see stuff, and then it's like
Yeah,
scary when things pop up. I don't know. It's part of the vibe for me, but I
it
can see
is.
why you want to see
Yeah.
stuff.
Like
It's
a
this.
little bit. It wasn't like it went from like whatever the number was. I think it automatically had it set to 30 and I turned it to 50 or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
a little extra and stuff. And then I never touched it from there, but you're right. There's creepy vibes, I would say, through this whole game. So,
yeah. I like it. It's sort of the gameplay. If I had to like summarize it, it's sort of like a combination between Resident Evil and maybe Doom.
mhm.
Like it's like
Yeah.
the world reminds me of Doom.
Yeah, sure. And
But,
on
like,
the
the gameplay
switches and going
reminds
to
me
new
of, like
areas. Yeah.
yeah, but the gameplay reminds me sort of old school Resident Evil. It's like tank controls, um,
It's well, it's sort of
it's
half tank controls because
it
you can
feels better than that. It feels
it
better than that, but
Yeah, because you
it's
can move. Because tank controls is like traditionally at least is you have to stand still in order to shoot, which is the early Resident Evil games,
right.
and you need to mostly have a locked camera, which at least in this game's credit, neither of those things are the case. So,
Was
like
it
he
Resident Evil
moves.
2 where you could start backing up as you were firing?
I think so. I think it was was it in the original two? Maybe, maybe not. I can't remember exactly, but obviously the first one you can't. It's all
The
fixed
first one you
camera
can't,
and
yeah.
whatever things like that, right? But it is kind of a mix between those two. That's a good point.
That's just what it reminds me of. Like,
Yeah.
in my head, this is what but it's definitely a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Definitely
It's
the Resident Evil vibes are there, like, there's a lot that reminds me of that.
I
Yeah,
think
just
I think there's because this is drawing off of a comic book story and comic book world
mhm,
and stuff. There's like we said earlier, like there's so many ideas in this and so much going on than just the moment to moment that
yeah,
you can really dig into a lot of the stuff that's happening here. I just wish the game itself provided a little bit more at times because you're going through like right now you're going through like that asylum that I mentioned earlier of where some of these, you know, other serial killers and other sort of bad people are being held or could be held or whatever ends up being part of the story at this exact point. And you go into these, I don't know if you got to this point where like you go into like these rooms that are almost like shrines of all these actual serial killers from history.
yeah, yeah,
And I was like, oh, this is like, I didn't really know who they were. There's like photos and then there's like these different sort of areas in it. Eventually you access those areas and you fight against these actual serial killers in
yeah,
this asylum, and they're almost like the boss battles of that area or whatever. All that idea is very cool. None of it is really clearly explained. I found that out by looking stuff up, and I wish
yeah,
there was room in the game. I don't know if the game would need to be smaller. I don't know if they would need to simplify things or whatever to fit that in, but it feels like that's very vaguely touched on. And I would have loved to understand more about that. And it's crazy that a game like this has like these real world characters they're throwing into it, which is very, again, very comic booky, but it's interesting. And there's so much deep stuff and dark stuff going on in
yeah,
here. I,
yeah, the team wrote out all the bosses were based on real life serial killers.
yeah.
In even up to like the release of the game, like in 99, I think there was one killer that was like literally just exposed as a serial killer in like 99, and they put him in the game.
Like,
Um,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah,
Like,
it's totally crazy. But I think what I was gonna say is there's like a isn't there like pages or something that you can read that sort of
oh, that's
summarize?
right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, there's sort of
It's not like something you have to do, but it is
right.
there,
Yeah,
and it
it's
does
like
sort of
it's like
expand
a
upon it.
notebook and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. I didn't automatically go to that because it's not because you're not accessing that out of necessity. It wasn't
right.
my inclination to be like, oh, I should pull up the book and flip through it in order to understand what all this is. Eventually, I did, and yeah, you're right. That's good correction. That it is available. It's just not explained. it it
Well,
wasn't
what's funny
thrown at my face. How about
What's
that?
funny is I feel like your approach is probably the normal approach, like, just play the game, and
Right,
hopefully it explains it to me as I'm going.
right.
Whereas I feel like I have the opposite approach where I'm like, "Okay, what can I find out about this game without having to play it?" Like, I wanna know everything about it. I wanna know all the lore. I wanna know
Not a bad
everything.
game. I just want to know
I just wanna
what.
skip ahead.
Right,
Like
right. I want to sort of and the manual does provide that. Again, we've mentioned this a few times recently, but like having the manual is something that we just don't do anymore. But also they are available online. A lot of PDFs of copies of
Mhm.
manuals and stuff. It would help you even if you did know that notebook was in the game and stuff like that, because it still provides a lot of context and
Yeah.
lore. It has big explanations of each character's background, which you definitely do not get, at least explicitly. Again, maybe I'm thinking a little too modern, because those are types of things that would probably be explored in some cutscene or other type of way that lore and background is explained in a more modern game. So maybe that's on me and my sort of expectation of it, or what I assume would work for me. But this game is so big and so deep that I feel like it would be nice to make it easier, I think, because there's so much else you have to think about. Um,
Yeah, I think honestly,
or I'm
my
just nitpicking.
only my only complaint about this game really is that the enemies are like bullet sponges
Yeah.
always,
Yeah.
from the get-go.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really causes me to be like, "Ugh," because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Some
every
areas are
corner
littered with enemies. Yeah.
yeah, every corner's an enemy, and every enemy takes, like, 20 hits, and you have infinite ammo. It's not like you run out of ammo, but it's like,
Well, you don't run out of ammo for your
for your
pistol, but the
pistol.
other weapons you do.
Right, for the gun
Yeah.
that you're gonna be using, though, let's be
For the
realistic.
most part. Yeah.
For the pistol, you have
Yeah.
infinite ammo, which is fantastic, but you sit there and have to shoot them 20 times, I don't know. You just
Yeah.
it gets repetitive and tedious, and you're
Hmm.
just like there was a point where I'm just like, I'm just gonna run past these enemies.
And sometimes you can. Like
Sometimes you
sometimes.
can.
Yeah,
Most of
I
the
did
time I
that.
can. I
Yeah.
did it quite a bit. As
So did
long as I
I.
could. If I could, I did.
Yeah. And it's a shame too, because like it's kind of cool to be able to say like, oh, I'm fighting through demons, I'm going through this asylum, I'm going through Dead Side. Like there's stuff there where it's like, yeah, I'd want to fight my way through it.
Yeah. And the
But it's
combat, like, shooting, it just, like, auto aims for you,
yeah,
and, like, I would say 85% of the time, it's good enough.
yeah, yeah.
The only because I see him on the screen right now, but the flying enemies, pain in the butt,
I hate it.
because you,
The
like
worst.
your lock on would sometimes lock on, and then sometimes it would be, like if they were right in front of you, no problem, but if they were, like, above you, you could switch to, like, the first person mode and, like, just, like, look around and shoot,
Yeah.
but I don't know, I found it really annoying.
Those are pretty rough too, and they have pretty good accuracy and can hit you from further away. It felt like than you
Yeah,
can hit
they hit
them.
you, and then you can't hit them, and
Yeah.
that's, like, the worst case scenario.
It's that sort of loop where it's like you don't flinch per se when you get hit, but you do need to kind of be. I mean, there is sort of a lock on. Like this person here that's playing is doing sort of the sidestep and the strafing. That I ended up using
Yeah,
quite a bit, and I would sort of walk in circles around enemies because they don't fire super fast. So if you're just kind of running from left to right and shooting them, you'll probably hit them. And but again, because it's tedious, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything all that exciting. It just feels like, oh, I'm just trying to get past these
mhm.
couple guys. in order to get to the next spot. Because for me, I don't know about you, but despite how sort of stiff Shadow Man runs and moves, I didn't actually mind the traversal parts all that much. I think those areas for me felt like they were designed fairly, I think maybe is what it is, where some of the combat and some of the other areas felt like they were just more convoluted. And like you said, they get a little tedious.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is it the most exciting traversal in the world? No. You just kind of move from one spot to another. And there's just, for some reason, platforms broken up into 13 pieces just for reasons, to get up a cliff. It's just an excuse to kind of get you to jump a few times, but I never found it to be super frustrating. And if I ever did feel like, oh, I really should have just made that jump, I would just rewind 10
Mm-hmm.
seconds.
Oh, I definitely did that.
Yeah. So, and that's fine. It's a big enough game that I didn't feel too sad about that. But, I don't know. You kind of were like, it's not, you didn't think it was all that good.
I actually think it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think gameplay wise, it's pretty like slightly above mid, I'd say. Like
Right.
I wouldn't say it's good, but I think it's fine. It works. But I think the vibe and aesthetic is definitely where this game shines. Like
Yeah.
the whole like story is just so crazy, and I
So,
could never predict what was happening next, and it was
yeah.
creepy and it was interesting, and
So fucked up.
yeah, it's messed up the whole way, and I don't know. I just there's something about it that I see why, like, with just playing it, I'm like, this is a game that has a cult following. Like I
Yeah.
could just
Yeah.
tell it
Yeah.
was one of those games. And I actually am really curious about trying the remastered version because they had things like updating the textures and everything, which might help with navigation, like separating things and making them more distinct.
I think, sorry, pushed a couple buttons by accident there. Whoops.
Okay, I thought you were trying to highlight me for a second. I was like, well, I can be highlighted and talk a
You want
little
me to
bit more
highlight?
if
I
you
can
want me
highlight
to.
you. Ready? See? Whoop. Hey, watch the stream, everybody. Highlight. Hey.
Hey, oh.
Highlight. Hey. Anyways, there's a game.
Extreme close up.
Woo,
Whoa!
woo, 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 woo. That's really dizzy, and that was a terrible idea. Uh, I forget what you said.
It probably was not that important because I don't
Oh, the
remember what I was
remaster, the
saying.
remaster
Oh
part.
yeah, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
remastered.
So when I
No, that
was
was
looking
important.
up gameplay, and when I looked up a couple of sort of tips and stuff as I went along, remaster came up quite often, because that's the most recent one. People are playing through it. They're putting up their let's
Mhm.
plays, things like that. It looks pretty sharp. I think they, like I didn't play it, so I'm not sure what it feels like when you play it. But you walk through some of the areas that I was very much like, oh, this is very samey, a lot of muddy stuff. Like everything looks more distinct. I don't know that the levels are necessarily laid out any differently. It sounds like there's
Right.
a couple of spots that have changed, because when I looked up a couple of the hints that I ended up looking up sort of halfway through the game or something, sort of noted that, oh, this door is over here instead of over here. Or, oh, this ledge isn't there
Mm,
anymore. That dark soul is actually in this room. So there's they didn't just fancy it up and that's it.
yeah.
There was more to it than that. So,
I heard they
um,
also added like cut content back into the game,
oh yeah, I read that too. Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is very interesting.
Yeah.
I the biggest thing for me is like, and I don't know if it supports ultra wide, but apparently it supports widescreen support, which
Right.
I think could actually be really helpful in a game like this to see like enemies and stuff off to the left or the right.
Yeah,
Um,
it does allow you, again, like through the settings, you can do, I think they call it widescreen or something. The
wait,
game
in the
yeah.
64 one?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Did
There's
I
like,
not check that? Well,
it's in there.
poo on me.
I when I went through the settings and turned up the brightness, because that's the like one of the couple of
No
things that I
way.
read before I started playing it. It is in the settings as one of the things. Let me see if I can pull up the settings
Oh
actually.
man, I bet it works on. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pull my
Well, it
Switch up
definitely
right
works
now.
in Switch because that's where I played it. So
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Cause oh
yeah.
man, that changes everything. I freaking love when
Here, in
things support.
game.
Oh,
Let's see.
apparently I was dying the last time I was playing.
Oh,
I
let's
just
listen
like.
to some music while we pull up the.
Oh yes.
There's that vibe. Also, like loading
No,
screens.
see, I don't see widescreen.
I saw it somewhere. I'm gonna. This guy pulled up the options here. Pretty sure. Where is it? In game, shadow meter, resolution, low res, high res. That's what it is. That's what I
Oh,
was thinking of. Not widescreen, low res or high res. Yeah.
I wonder if
Um,
that's interesting.
I can't remember if it makes it any brighter, but
Oh yeah, I have it in high res.
yeah, so did I. Yeah, I assume it's not that different, but probably because you can put
I
the
don't
expansion
know.
pack in this. That's probably what that
Yeah,
does. So, um, yeah, it's I think it is the vibes. I think it is the music. Here, I'm going to play more sound because that's something we've talked about constantly. I want to play some of the sort of sound just as the game's going on.
it's an
Maybe he'll.
important part.
It is actually. It's a huge part of the game. Let's go here because he collects like a Dark Soul and you get like a voiceover. Well, there's that.
Oh, and they do a great job making all the enemies sound terrifying. By the way,
Oh yeah.
there's like
It,
the little ones that go and they're like Shadow Man.
yeah. You know what they are? They're gargoyles. I didn't know that they were gargoyles.
Oh man, I didn't either.
No, they're just like little creepy fucking things. I know. So like even when you're not doing much,
It's like
there's
the
that sort of
ambiance.
yeah, the ambiance, atmospheric sort of sound, and it's constantly
And
going in the
when
game.
you hear those Dark Souls too, it's like a heartbeat.
Oh, I
So if you're
love
like
that,
against a wall or something, it's like boom, boom, boom,
and
boom,
it's
and you're like, oh,
directional
it's around
too.
me somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool.
I feel like I just saw that he was going to get a Dark Soul here. I just wanted to find it because the to be able to hear that heartbeat part. Um, there you go.
There it is. Yeah,
The
the
Dark
Dark
Souls are
Souls are
mine.
mine.
He
She
always
can't
sounds
help but just
so
say it.
angry. He's so angry.
Yeah, he is.
He's always so angry.
He's always angry.
I mean, his brothers
I
don't, but I get
am
it.
the Shadow
Yeah.
Man.
um. Again, so when it really comes down to it, I think, as I said, like I really like um Metroidvania games. Some of
Mhm,
my favorite genre in the last, let's say, 15 years or something. A lot of really great games that have made that. Obviously, just Metroid games in general. I love the 2D Metroid games, especially. Dread is one of the best Switch games in my opinion. I freaking love that
mhm.
game so
I
much,
agree.
and it's one of the best Metroid games. I think it's just so well designed. It has so many cool ideas. The difficulty's great. So I like games like that. I those are more you can follow those a little easier. You know that you have to backtrack to certain spots a little bit better.
Mhm.
I think that was my biggest problem with it. Like, is yes, the bullet sponge enemy stuff is not great, but if it's encouraging me and it's required of me to go back and find these dark souls and go to areas like this where now he's running through lava which would instantly kill you before,
He
but then you get
activated a cheat.
yeah, well no, you get an ability that allows you to do that, that allows you to run on the lava.
What cheat did he activate though?
Oh, I don't know. There's cheats. There's
He
areas where you go
he
in and
just
then
like
there's
jumped down
cheats.
somewhere and said cheat activated.
Yeah, you unlock cheats in certain areas like when you find them and stuff. But there's spots where you couldn't access before until you get an ability later on, regardless of which one it is. And I don't always know or remember because there's no map. There's no like if it had any kind of navigation other than
Yeah.
just the areas that the teddy bear lets you go to. Again, I don't remember what everything's called. I don't remember what everything looks like. You're just transported to like the start of that area. There's no other kind of checkpoint or travel area. Maybe I'm asking for something too modern, but I really think that would have like gotten me to honestly finish this game because unfortunately neither of us did because it's just there's just too much to do, I
But we
think.
will.
But we will. I you know what? I think if I put the remaster on my Steam wish list.
Nice.
So I think that when I get the chance, or I, see it on sale or whatever, it gives me a heads up, like, oh, hey, it's $10 off. You know what? I think, now that I've been through the first, I would say 2/3 of this game, I feel like I could
Yeah.
get through it pretty quickly because I've done it. And then I can sort of experience going back and backtracking and find some of those things that I didn't before because of all the things we've explained. So I think like I might do it. Is it going to be tomorrow? No, but I'm willing to do it because the game it's not bad. It's just little things add up to some annoying aspects, I guess, as part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think
Uh,
I think overall it's a very interesting game though.
yeah, it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
It's a vibe. And it's cool that it's based on a comic, and that just that whole story is just really interesting to me because they were like, didn't they want to originally make a game about like a cop or something that was like
Yes. Yeah.
a
So what I found was that the Acclaim studio, I don't have the name of the exact Acclaim studio that it was, but Acclaim, who is now actually coming back under new ownership and was repurchased, or what, some of the rights to some of the stuff obviously is not there. Like I don't think they have Turok anymore and stuff like that. Anyways, point is that studio started making the engine for this game before they even knew what game they were going to make. So this game was in development
yeah.
technically for like 2 or 3 years before it was released, and then they just sort of built a game around it once they got the right. The Acclaim Studios, or Acclaim, like the publishing part of Acclaim, bought a bunch of comic book uh, rights, which I think Turok was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're like, okay, we want to make a 3D, potentially action game, adventure game type of thing. We're going to start building an engine for that. And then eventually they're like, oh, we're going to choose Shadow Man. We're going to use that. I think that's kind of cool because you're sort of, this is our technical idea. And then, okay, let's use the deep story that we have and sort of build around it, which maybe is a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about. That's why those things feel not drastically different from each other, but definitely feel like they were done separately, in a way, because of the way that the story's told and how crazy it is and how the gameplay is hit and miss depending.
I just got like what this game, like the vibe of the aesthetic, what
Yeah.
it really reminds me of. It's the movie Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Dude, like the stitching of the skin and everything,
Yep.
like
Yep.
all of that. But
I
it's
could see
definitely
that.
got a Louisiana voodoo kind of plot to it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's where
Just
it starts until you run into this guy, which is the guy I mentioned at the beginning in my little spiel. More than a drop of the hard stuff. Just calling her a drunk. Like, why is this guy super Scottish with a top hat, like a creepy snake? Like, what is it? Feels so. It's so
I don't
funny.
know. It is pretty
Again,
bizarre.
another cutscene halfway through the game. Lots of dialogue, lots of sort of explanations. Like, there's just so much of this going on. And
Oh my
it's
gosh, and I
yeah,
have to say this because I
yeah,
just saw it. The mouths freaking move to
yes,
the words they're saying, whether it matches up or not the point. This is an N64 game. And when he talks, his mouth is like moving.
all of them,
They
every
never
single.
did that. They
Yeah.
never did that. They were always just static models. So I was very impressed with that when I saw it.
It's a little thing, but they do so many close-ups on the characters when they're talking because there's so much dialogue that you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you notice, you actually notice it. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Because what it reminds me of, the models in this, the actual sort of silhouettes, the actual character models of the humans, at least, reminds me of No Mercy, for example, because I look at
Hmm.
those models of those wrestlers in that game so often because I played that game so much, but none of their mouths move every time they do it. They just sort of like do these actions with their hands or whatever
Hmm.
and things like that. And there's more going on in the game, so that's fine. But like, then you see it in this, and I was like, oh, that would have been cool if I could see Stone Cold chirping The Rock or something like, or Undertaker sort of yapping at Triple H.
The rock is cooking there.
Yeah, that's what it would look. I'm gonna get you. The Tombstone Power Driver, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I actually forgot to mention that. That's huge. Uh, so overall, pretty good game. Just you got to get through some sort of convoluted stuff here and there, but I do think that there's a lot here to enjoy. It's a little ambitious, maybe, is part of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that might be something.
yeah. Ambitious, I would say, and it
Yeah,
pulls
and
a lot more off than it fails. I would say.
yes, 100%, 100%. Like we're talking about the things that like sort of feel off, but it doesn't make the game bad. I don't think this is a bad game. I was actually surprised. I thought the first couple minutes, I thought sort of the fact that it's not a hugely popular game. It's not like I knew a bunch of people that played it. I was like, oh, I'm kind of worried that the gameplay is going to be kind of schmeh and whatever. But I did enjoy it. You know, I was willing to go through those and get past those areas that we've been talking about, because I was still having a good time in it and still interested in keeping going and finding those crazy things. Like you were saying, there's just constantly things that are thrown at you that are interesting and dark and creepy, and like I want to see more of that. I want to experience more of that, and it does give you tons of that the more and more you play. So a pretty long game. So if you really want to sink into a spooky game for an October or a spooky season, like this will eat up a decent amount of time for sure. I don't know. I should look up on how long to beat how long it is, but I feel like it's up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Shadow Man. Let's see. Come on. So it says if you want to do just main story, which you know sometimes there's some areas you can go back to unlock and whatever. 15 hours. I would say that you'd have to be pretty efficient with your time to do this in 15 hours. Um, it's a pretty long game. I think I played it for about 9. I want to say maybe 10 in total. Decent amount, and I felt like
Mhm.
I did a lot, and I went to a lot of places. Like there's a lot to do here, so um, maybe do the remaster version, maybe play the original if you want, but worth it, I would say, right,
Yeah,
Jiggy?
yeah. I would say it's worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you have the expansion pack on Switch, like give
Yeah.
it a shot.
Yeah,
And
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
it's with
Yeah.
that. It's cool.
Yeah.
And
So
I think I might give the Dreamcast version a shot just to really see the differences, you know?
yeah, the only thing I noticed, I mean, I didn't look at a ton of gameplay from it per se, but like a couple of the reviews that show up when you sort of search, you know, backgrounds about these games and stuff, is that it's just it runs a little bit smoother. Like there are some frame drops and things like that. Even playing it on Switch, it just feels like it's just the
Mhm.
game itself, just how it was built and all that. Because it's so big, I feel like it makes sense that there's limited space on that cartridge and expansion pack to run it. And the thing that I read was that the Dreamcast one just looks a little bit better. It might sound a little bit better, and there's less of those sort of technical issues and stuff, which is all good. That's all a
Mhm.
bonus, right? That's all a positive.
Pretty
So
much what I expect from a Dreamcast port.
yeah, exactly, right. Which was like a couple 2 years, maybe 3 years after it was released on 64. So had some time to cook a little bit. But Shadow, yeah, is there a year on the case there? 2001 or 2, maybe. I would assume. Oh,
It says 99 acclaim.
oh, it's still 99. Oh, okay, so there you go.
Wait, what the frick? Hang
Uh
on.
oh.
What
Is
did I
it?
just find?
Come on. What? The anticipation is killing me. Is that a map?
It's a map of the dead side.
What?
I'm not even joking. I just opened it. I never saw that. It was like I've opened this case and looked at it. I've never seen this map before. I opened it and it was just there.
It's like separate from the manual, like a separate
Dude, it's
pamphlet
separate.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
It's a separate little pamphlet. Live side level, Bayou Paradise, Louisiana, dead side level, the Marrow Gates. And then
Oh
it has like a
shit.
long,
That's
it's like giving
cool.
you tips and stuff. And
Oh
this
man.
map, this is literally a map of everything.
I
Path
mean,
of
it's not super
Shadow,
detailed, but it's like an overhead view of where everything is.
Wasteland Paths. It shows the gates that you can go through, and it shows how many Dark Souls it takes to open
Oh,
them.
that's huge. That's huge.
And it shows
That's
the asylum gateway and the pathways through the asylum. And
that's oh man. What? Okay,
wow.
instantly the best version of this game. Instantly.
Wow. I mean, the fact that I have this is dope. I didn't
That's
even know I had
amazing.
this. I wish I need a clear shot of this for this. Maybe I'll send you a picture. Maybe you should
Yeah,
just throw it up on the screen.
that's unreal. Oh man.
That
What?
is epic. It was just like chilling in the case. See, okay, this is why when you go to gaming conventions and stuff, I hunt, especially for my Dreamcast, for the actual like cases because they're so
Right.
hard to find, the jewel cases. But often they do have the instruction manuals. I must not have noticed that that was sitting in there like that. I
Well,
opened it, it was like on the disc, you know?
that's man. That's awesome. That's see, that would have meant a lot of the things I just talked about and we've
F,
mentioned
man. I wish I
would
had that
have
before I started.
yeah, that would have made a difference. So here's the thing. So that's just point in case where it's just like I don't know if there's a version of that. I don't know in the remaster if that's included. It's some version of that or whatever. I'm sure you can find it online at this point. But you have something like that in this game available to you, or you have it in the jewel case like you did there with the Dreamcast. Like it makes a difference. Does it
Yeah.
make the gameplay itself 10 times better? No, but it takes away some of that convoluted
Yeah. They have a
design
rough
that
idea where to go.
that's all you need. Especially the gates and stuff to be like, oh, now I have 6. Okay, I'm going to go to this area. That's great.
Yeah.
That's all I need. You don't have to put me right in front of the gate. I will just know that that's the area I have to go to, which would be kind of cool. So, damn, man, I feel bad for you now. Shit. I mean, it's cool, but I feel bad for you too.
It's okay. I'm still playing the game though.
There you go.
I can use
There you
it.
go. Yeah. But we'll move on from this and head to our next spooky game. Again, like I mentioned earlier in the show, we are going to be playing Castlevania. Just Castlevania. Some people just call it Castlevania 64, but just the first 3D Castlevania. There are 2 on the 64, but we're just going to play the first one this time. We'll get to the other one at some point, but if you want to play along, that is the game that's coming up next. I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm going to try to stream it, or we're going to try to do something like that closer to the Halloween if you're hearing this before Halloween comes around, but that will be the next up. And until that time, Jiggy, where can everybody find you online, sir?
Oh, I'm on YouTube. Look me up
Yeah,
on
you are.
YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. That's where
Can,
to
you,
go.
can they find Jiggylookback on YouTube? I don't know.
They can find Jiggylookback on YouTube. In fact, if you Google Jiggylookback, I'm pretty sure an AI overview comes up
Oh God.
saying to find me on YouTube.
It just says on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah. I doubt much of that comes up with Remember 64, but of course you can find Remember 64 on YouTube as well. Consolecreatures.com is where you can find me writing mostly about indie games and playing indie games. Also, for anyone who is a fan of games on the N64, the Banjo-Kazooie series, rare games on the 64, Yoka Replayly, I believe that is how you're supposed to say it's a mouthful. I don't love it. I don't love it. I am currently, as we are recording this, playing that for review for Console Creatures, so you can check that out as well. Very cool way to sort of be able to experience that game, mostly for the first time, because I actually hadn't played a whole lot of the first one. So that's something you can check out. Of course, support this show at Remember 64 Show on Patreon and find it all over social media. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you want to support this show and the others that we have at Console Creatures, coffee.com. Just search Console Creatures and you can toss us any small amount of bucks that will go towards making these shows bigger and better than they are even now. So other than that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us once again on Remember 64. Get spooky, get Shadow Manny, and I don't know. Is that a thing? Sure. Okay, before I say any more and screw this up, I'm getting out of here. Okay, bye, everybody. Bye. Okay.